Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Ascalise, the inventress. My business is Inventing A to Z. At Inventing A to Z, I work with clients to take their products from concept to fruition, from a napkin idea all the way to the marketplace and everything in between, the right way. If you want to contact me, email me, Lisa at inventingatoz.com. My website, inventingatoz.com.
Ascalise, the inventress, CEO and founder of Inventing A to Z and the Inventress podcast. Today, I'm super excited because I have one of the most amazing musicians, bakers I've ever had on this podcast, ever. His name is Ralph Rolle. He has a company called Soul Snacks, but he does everything else too. Very diverse person. He's from New York. Woohoo! Welcome, Ralph. Yay!
Thank you for having me, Lisa. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
I am so happy to have you on this show today because, we talked the other day for so long just to get to know each other. Angelo was, Mr. The King Angelo Ellerby was kind enough to introduce us, and he knew exactly what he was doing because when we hopped on a call, we stayed on the call for, how long were we on the phone?
We were on the phone for an hour, 20 minutes.
It was just to say, hey, how you doing? Let's talk about what you have. So listen,
and mind you, the funny thing, we've never met. That's what made it even greater.
Yes, that is what made it even greater. And I love that. I love that kind of connection. I love the synergy. I love the connection. And I certainly have to, I think I'm going out to lunch with him tomorrow. But anyway, I have to, rave about you again. But anyway, so listen, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your company. Let's talk about your several businesses because you're a drummer, you teach, you bake. Come on, you're all things that every woman and I think everybody wants in their lives. So come on, tell me about your business and how you got started.
Well, thank you. I started my business many years ago. Actually, it's been about 26 years. And when I was very young, I learned the art of baking from my grandmother and my mother. And I just kept that up throughout the years. Being under them was a very incredible experience. Learning from women is you kind of get a different perspective of life when you learn from women, especially the fact that my mother had to be the mother and the father in my household. Although I knew my father, they were separated before I was born. So being under my grandmother and watching her cook and just being the head of the family as well as my mother, baking just kind of hit me naturally. And that came from sitting at the table. Me and my cousin would wait for my grandmother to pass us the bowl when she was mixing a cake or something. It was the best feeling in the world. It's something you really never forget. And the smell. Being in the kitchen and learning how to create things, to me, has a synergy with music. It's the same thing. So you're creating music, you create stuff in the kitchen. It's about entertaining people. So I took that on and on throughout the years. And when I became a young man and was interested in girls, I was nervous. I couldn't talk to girls. So my delivery was I would bake something for a girl I liked and see if she would respond. So that's so nice. That's so sweet of you. And it worked.
The smartest man on the planet. You learn something that you need to teach. That's another class you need to teach. But yes, I love it. So you brought your cookies?
Yeah. I grew up in the projects. I grew up in public housing, and the guys that I used to hang out with, I just felt like they had more swag than I did. So I had to figure out my way to meet girls, and that was my thing. I would just bake something nice for them, and oh wow, this really tastes really good, and then opens up this icebreaker. You open up a conversation and talk. you know.
Listen, that would be a great icebreaker for me. As
Oh,
a, as a matter of
then
fact,
I'll make dinner for you one day.
I got to come to that warehouse too that you have where you're doing all of that baking, but we'll get to that. So let's talk about the, believe me, and I know every cookie you have because I checked everything out on the website. The
Oh,
ginger
thank you.
chocolate, the coconut. I am so there at your factory. I'll help you one of these days. Okay, I'll come over.
Okay, not a problem.
Like
I would
I
love
love
that.
on that assembly line, gladly,
Oh,
gladly, helping you
that'd be
bake
great.
and package. So you've got some great flavors, but I want to talk about, we'll get back to the cookies, but let's talk about the drumming and the baking. How did you
Yes,
become a drummer? And you still are. You're still a
I
musician.
still am. I just came from doing a show in California just Monday. I was a very popular comedian named Russell Peters. He's from Canada, and a lot of people don't know Russell, which is very strange. But he went on a 2-year arena tour. I actually met up with him at the. I hadn't seen him in a while, so he sent me tickets to go to Madison Square Garden, and
What's
he
his
sold
name?
out Madison Square. Russell Peters.
Russell Peters. Okay, I gotta look him up.
He's an Indian comedian. He's hilarious.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so he got married. He got married. So he's best friends with Nile Rodgers, who I play for. And
Oh,
Nile Rodgers and he asked us to play, and we played. It was great.
wow.
Yeah.
What a career. Now you've been doing this for, you said 26 years. You've been playing the drums and
I've
how,
been I've been I started the cookie company in 1996.
uh-huh.
I started my professional career as a musician in 1979.
Isn't that
I
something?
was I was like a year. I graduated early, so I went on the road for the first time when I was 19 years old, and
So that's like,
it was a
that's
group.
40, yeah, 42 years ago, 43 years ago.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
the the group was called Musique, and the song was called Push Push in the Bush, and it was.
No, I don't know that song. Push. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
That was my first
That's
tour, and the
unbelievable.
first time out of the country, first time with a passport. It was life changing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. And so now, were you still baking at the time? So you're doing your music, but were you baking or did you have the urge? Did you miss it?
I was only baking, just to bake for, people. Like in my neighborhood, if there was a young person that I knew their family and I knew that they grew up kind of like I did, I would make something for their kid, or something just to be, nice. Because sometimes when you're in a household and there's only one parent, you kind of compensate by doing other things for other people so they don't have to feel what you might have felt. And that's just kind of what I did.
I love your
So
sense.
I start.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something, I think, people do. I hope they do.
Not all people do. I love your sense of community. And I believe that, you mentioned your mother, your grandmother, it stems from there. It really
Yeah,
does. I'll
absolutely. I
always
know.
love my mama, right?
Yes,
Mothers and grandmothers teach, they don't even have to tell you that they're teaching. They
right.
innately and automatically teach you, and you watch. You pass the bowl to your brother. I'm sure you left out the fact that you were licking the bowl. You were licking
Oh
that bowl.
yeah.
You passed the
Yeah, me
bowl.
and my cousin Vincent were licking the bowl. Yes, we were.
You were licking that bowl. So I'm going to go back and forth because we've got a lot in common, and I'd like to bring up the fact that we talked about this a little bit. And Allison Williams. Allison Williams is a good friend of mine, and
Did you speak to her?
I didn't get
Oh,
a chance
not
to
yet.
talk to her. She will be at my conference this June, and you will
Nice.
be there also, June 25th. It's here in New
Okay.
Jersey. You must come as a VIP guest. You can play your drums. Maybe you can play along with Allison singing or whatever. Allison's probably going, who does she think she is? Putting my stuff, but she performs every year at our conferences. And just a really good friend. And I love the fact that we know a lot of the same people in the same community. I want to bring up the fact that, so let's talk a little bit about how you know Allison. Let's go there for a second, because she'll hear this.
Allison and I grew up basically in the same circles in New York. We're both from the Bronx, She grew up. She used to live on Ogden Avenue in the Bronx, and I grew up on the other side of the Bronx on 174th Street, and we were running in the same circles. But then when we started working together was when Allison was the first lady of Def Jam.
That's right.
So, and I was playing drums for Orange Juice Jones. And just to show you,
I saw him
yeah,
walking in the rain.
just to show you how tight the organization was, Allison was actually working as a manager on the road with us because she wasn't on the road at the time. And then we started something called the Def Jam Soul Songs Tour, which was like the Motown Review.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Allison Williams, Orange Juice Jones, Tayshaun, and Chuck Stanley. We all went on the road to Europe together.
Amazing.
And I played for Allison off and on for more than 30 years. You know, so we know each other very, very, very well, you know, very well.
Wait until she sees this. I mean, I did leave her a message after we talked the other night. She was a little under the weather, but she's getting better now. She's gonna love to hear this. She's gonna love to hear this. And we did a throwback on Tuesday. So she was on the podcast on Tuesday on our
Nice.
show. And just amazing. You know, you guys as artists are such an esoteric group. You really are. But you're very, very close knit in so many ways. You talk about Allison Williams, you talk about Chic, you talk about all these different people that you performed with. And I love that you're a New Yorker. I love that you're a New Yorker, and there's something to be said about that, like Brooklyn, Bronx to Queens. Queens. I know that you did an interview with Damon John, and I saw some of that, and I thought it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. It was amazing. I mean, just very, very, you very naturally spoke about everything that you're doing and you know what you've done in the past. And what I love about what Damon said to you was, you know people already. You know people. Why not reach out to that community for testimonials and for help and things like that? And we're going to get to the cookie business and talk about why I'm bringing that up. With people like Allison Williams in your life, with Damon John, who was very, very willing to reach out to community and just give testimonials about your business, you will win. You will win, especially if you have no fear in going out and just speaking to people and not being intimidated by who anybody is, right? That's how you grow your business. That's how you grow your business. So that being said, now let's go back and talk about the cookies, where you are,
Okay.
where you're selling, and where you aspire to be beyond here today.
Well, right now we are in the Bronx on 134th Street. Which is called the Port Morris section of the Bronx. And we've been at this location going on about 13 years.
Wow.
We are moving in about maybe 2 weeks to a new location, a bigger location. Many years ago, there was a juvenile detention center called Spofford Detention Center.
Sure.
It's called
Yeah.
Spofford House.
Yep.
And that's where all the so-called bad kids had to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what happened over the years is that many things had gone on within the facility that weren't humane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they were putting young kids in solitary confinement for extended periods of time when you shouldn't have to put a kid in solitary confinement. You know, there was, you know, just stuff that was going on, and they were shut down. The city shut them down. Actually, it turned into an international situation with Amnesty International got involved in some other organizations. But since then, they tore it down, and they've built affordable housing and small business space. And I was part of the think tank that actually won the bid to build the facility. And I thought it was going to be a shoo-in to get, and it wasn't. Another company took over, so I thought it was off the table. And maybe about 6 months ago, I received a phone call saying, "Are you still interested in the space?" And I told them absolutely. So my lease just came in the mail, in the email just 2 days ago. So
Oh,
I'm really excited about moving into this iconic space because of what it,
congratulations to
yeah,
you.
what it made. Thank you. It's just great to know that that space is totally transformed. You
Yes.
know, and I've always been very pro Bronx.
Hmm.
So no matter where I go, I'm always talking about the Bronx, no matter what is going on. You know, the Bronx gets a bad rap.
Hmm.
Brooklyn gets a bad rap. You're
Yes.
from Brooklyn, and you know how great Brooklyn is.
I love
You
Brooklyn.
know, yeah,
Yes.
and I love the Bronx.
I
So
love
you
the
know,
Bronx.
I'm always and I'm trying my best to make the Bronx even better by
Yes.
doing things that are positive, that helps the community. So in this new space, which is about 800 square feet bigger than my current space, it's about 2,100 square feet that has very high 20-foot ceilings.
Nice.
We're putting two separate facilities in the same space. One is going to be for our classic line, and then the other side is going to be certified vegan, gluten free, and we're going to do our gluten-free vegan line there. And then in another portion of the space, we're actually putting a culinary school
Good
in
for
that space. So
you.
we're really excited about that. Yeah, yeah,
That's very exciting. So I have
yeah.
to ask you, well, congratulations over and over again. And I remember that well. And I remember what a bad rap that place got. And the kids who went there, I mean, they were taboo. You didn't hang out
Yeah,
with
Mike, actually, Mike Tyson was in Spofford.
kids.
Yeah, yeah, he talks about that.
That's where the bad kids went, right? Quote unquote. And right? And some of the most creative, underserved children on the planet, unfortunately. And some of the most successful people came out of that place.
Yes.
Mike Tyson being one of them, because he was fortunate, blessed enough to get support and help and everything to showcase his, his talents, his talents. So
Many times, young people just need a mentor and an opportunity. Very
absolutely,
simple. A mentor
yes,
and an opportunity.
yes,
And it changes lives.
every single day, every single day. So congratulations on that space. And I really, and when I tell you I'm going to come out and I'm going to visit you, I absolutely mean it. When I say
Thank you.
something, I mean it. When I tell you I want to do something, I do it. And that brings me to wanting to know what kind of help you need, where you see yourself going, where you are, who you're selling to today.
Well, at this
A
point,
lot. I just asked you a lot of questions.
no, that's great. Thank you
Okay.
very much. When the pandemic hit, like all businesses, every single business, large and small, went into a panic as to what we were going to do.
Mhm.
And during the pandemic, I decided, okay, I have to do a reinvention here. I have to figure something out. So I get most of my work done, my good work done after my family's asleep. And my dog is laying with his huge head on my lap, and I'm just coming up with stuff. And I came up with an idea to send a proposal to JP Morgan Chase. And the proposal was, it would be great to do a thank you to send cookies to all of the first responders in the city, whether it's a hospital or the fire department or the police department or paramedics, uh, via Chase, just to say, we know you're there, we recognize you. And it took about maybe 3 months for them to get back to me. And someone from Chase wrote me back and said, "We read your proposal. We'd like to talk to you. We like what you're talking about." So a few days later, I received a phone call from Chase. I know exactly where I was. I was stuck on the Triborough Bridge. There was an accident, and my phone rang, and the woman said, "Hi, I'm from Chase, and we got your proposal, but we have something for you that I think you might like. We're going to put you in our Chase portal where all of the bank's managers and employees can buy your cookies, and managers can send them out to uh, the, not the employees, to send them out to the bank accounts, the business
Yes,
people."
yes, yes.
And I was very happy about that relationship, and it's still going on to this day.
That is
So
a blessing.
yeah, but the moral to the story, it's not to just say what happened. It's to just let anyone out there, any small business, know that you have to have the ability to be imaginative and reinvent, especially in the face of adversity, and
Yeah.
not be afraid, because things are going to come, things are going to be up and things are going to be down, but you got to just try to reinvent sometimes. So, through that, it's been a great relationship. Right before that, before the pandemic,
Mhm.
I was one of two businesses that was asked to sit down and speak with Jamie Dimon, which was amazing. So it's been a climb. It hasn't always been
Huh?
that way. One of my other clients is a company called Great Performances, which is one of the biggest catering companies in New York City. So we do a lot of product for them. And one of their clients is Women's Skating Ring, ice skating ring. So we make cookies for them as well. But the big thing that happened is I received a phone call from a guy that I never spoke to before, who found my, so I don't know who I have to ask him where he got my number from. But he said, "Hi, my name is Mark Dunstan, and I'm a magician." And I'm going, "Okay, so where's this going?" He says, "I'm a magician, and I have a friend who I think you'd like to talk to. He's interested in your cookie company." And I said, "Okay, I like interest." So the gentleman that he actually was friends with, he's best friends with, is a guy who used to own the hair care company African Pride.
Uh-huh.
And him and his father sold African Pride for
Uh-huh.
many millions of dollars. And his dad and him decided that they were going to invest in small business. And this is a man after my heart, because he's doing exactly what I want to do. So the first business he found was a cosmetic company in New Jersey called Glamazon, and he
Uh-huh.
brought them to market, and they're doing very well. And the second company he found was my company, and everything that he said he would do, he's done. And one of the things was that he would get me in front of Walmart, and it took about a year of preparation to make that 30-minute meeting happen. But they love the product. They said, and I quote, these are the best cookies that we've ever sampled here as buyers. And the assistant buyer said the same thing. These cookies
Now,
are
who
amazing.
did you say this guy was? Who was the company?
His name is Mario De La Guardia. Mario De La Guardia is his name, and
Yep.
he's an amazing person, and I have nothing but great things to say about him. He cares about small business. He cares about the growth of people who have a dream, and he wants to stand behind them. And he's actually done everything that he said he was going to do,
He's
and
the
it's been
real deal. I
amazing.
know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so yes, go ahead, continue.
Right now, we got picked up by Walmart, 789 stores, and we just got picked up by Kroger as well. So we're just waiting for Kroger to give us their stores. So it's a big deal, and
Oh, it is a big deal. That's a
yeah,
big deal. And when people see products, the day-to-day people see products on shelves, they don't realize what goes into that effort, especially
mm,
when it comes to a small business, and how to get there, how you get there. And it is a climb, and you mentioned you sent a proposal to Chase, and it was 3 months before they got back with you. But I'm sure in the back of your mind, you kept Chase, and you were like, I'm sure at some point you were saying, I hope they get back, or maybe you even followed up with Chase, and they did get back with you.
yes,
So unbelievable. It's surreal how these things do happen. But when you have stick-to-itiveness, perseverance, determination, and faith, there is nothing that you cannot do. And there are never hurdles you cannot jump over, and jump
yes.
through. Really. And
Um,
you're proof of that.
well,
And
you
it's
know,
so amazing to me that, I mean, go ahead,
well,
I'll let
thank
you.
you. My mother was always a very glass half full person. Growing up in Bronx River houses, most of the tenants would not go to the management office for help. They would go to my mother. because they knew that my mother would immediately take pen to paper and start putting together a proposal or whatever the grievance was to be able to help who that person was. And I've seen her do this time and time again. My mother ran the tenant association. She ran the tenant patrol. She ran the garden program. She ran the summer youth program. And she was the crossing guard on the corner.
Well, of course you was. Of course you was.
So I think the giving part of me came naturally because I saw my mother doing it all the time. You know, sad to say, she died at a very young age from cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But we, my brothers and sisters and I, try to uphold her name in the best way we possibly can. But for me, part of my negotiation with my new partners was that I would make sure that I would always stay and have my business growing in the Bronx. And they totally supported me. I mean, that's what I love about Mario. He got it. He understood. He said, there's no way that you could ever take your business out of the community. I said, I have no intention on doing that.
Good for you.
So he's supporting the move into the new space 100%.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And however, of course, you spoke with Angela. However, I can help you and support you. You know what I do from,
Well, from your website and watching what you do, I mean, there's so many things. The tentacles that you have out in the industry is out of control. It's out of control.
Yeah.
Just totally ridiculous. It's like, I don't know, you don't have to, there's probably 8, 9 more arms behind you doing other things right now while you're talking to me. But what I would love to do now that we're out in a national marketplace is to continue with that, to get in front of people, to sell the product. I know you have a great relationship with HSN and QVC, and we have the infrastructure now to actually get to those markets.
Yes.
So I would love to get in front of the people there and say, okay, this is what I have. This is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we did, and it was a statement to make for small business. If you look at my packaging, which you'll see if you haven't already seen it, you will see it soon. On the back of the packaging, we do a fair trade initiative. So what we've already done before we sold the first cookie is that we donated $25,000 to the farmers in Ghana.
Oh my God.
If you know anything about the cacao business, it's a very lucrative business. It's almost as lucrative as gold. It's almost as lucrative as coffee. Okay, it's an amazing business, but the actual farmers that farm the land usually don't see the money, just like coffee makers. They don't really see a line share. So what my partners and I decided to do was to donate $25,000 that will go directly to them. So, for example, $10 to me and you is like, $1,000 to a farmer.
Yes.
So the goal in doing that is to show other small businesses that if you're planning on creating generational wealth in your communities, you have to go and do it from the start, not later on 10 years from now when it's like a political thing to do.
That's right.
It's time to do it now and the best way you possibly can. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it in a financial way. You can do it in a way where you're mentoring or teaching, someone how to get from point A to point B. One of the things that I love doing is teaching. So I do master classes all over the world. And most of my master classes is in motivation. It's not necessarily me playing a bunch of cool tricks on drums. The drum part of it to me, and I say this all the time, the drum part is the commercial. That's the commercial. This show is what I'm letting people know about how I grew up and what did I do to get to this point and what was I thinking about to get to that point. And the biggest thing, and it's something that you touched on, is perseverance. You have to see yourself as positive.
Yes.
You have to see yourself without obstacles, even if you have them. you have to be able to see yourself as breaking through many barriers
Yes.
that, some people might allow it to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get out of your own
Amen.
way. That
Amen.
is the biggest one. So
Gotta walk through it.
that's the win.
That is the win. And you've got to walk through it. And we all go through it. I mean, you had, by the grace of God, you had your grandmother and your mom, and they had that innate love and guidance, and just, they instilled that in you without even saying, I'm giving this to you. They just gave it to you because they were there, and they showed you by doing, right? And I'm sure there were many things and many obstacles that they faced 100% that they had to walk through. They had to jump over, and they didn't show their fear. And that's what made you who you are. They didn't show their fear. They were, I'm sure, petrified. You would never know it. You just saw them as really strong women, powerful women. And you picked that up, and you were like, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bake cookies and show up in front of those pretty girls and walk through it. You dragged yourself through it, right? You gave yourself, you found your superpower. And maybe that's where it started for you, but you had it innately. You had that strength. That sleeping giant woke up when it came to those cookies. And then you were able
My friends thought they thought I lost my mind when I was making the cookies, because I was playing on the Apollo at the Showtime of the Apollo.
Uh-huh.
They was like, what are you doing? What are you cookies? I'm like, yeah, cookies.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. And however I can help you in any way, I'd love 100% to present your product. We'll meet up maybe in a week or so. You're not that far away. I'm in Jersey. You're in the Bronx. We can meet. We can Zoom, or you can send me some cookies. I'll eat a whole bunch of them. And I need to do a taste test, right? But certainly love to connect with you, help you, as I said, in any way I can. And when I say something, I mean it. As you're,
Thank you so much.
When I say it, I mean it. And
well, I'd love to go on QVC with you.
Okay.
I would love that, and go on Home Shopping Network with you.
Okay, so we'll talk, and we'll certainly figure out a way to get you there. So I have one question for you. Did you ever did you ever play with Ashford and Simpson? Because they had that restaurant, right?
I'm Sugar Bar. I played with Ashford Simpson for many years. Yeah, many years I played with Ashford and Simpson. It was great. Nick, was an amazing man, and Valerie amazing. Is always, I love playing with them. It was a lot of fun. We did a lot of shows together. It was great.
And her and Valerie, Allison and Valerie are still very close.
Yes.
She's in the Carolinas now. Allison she's in the Carolinas, but she will be back here, as I said, in Jersey in June, and so will you, at the conference, and talk about that offline. But you are such an amazing man. Please, we're here having a conversation. I forgot about you people out there. Please share your website, share your information, tell everyone how they can follow you, purchase your products, purchase your cookies. You got the floor.
Okay, you can purchase the cookies coming April 1st in 789 Walmarts, and I'm posting the list on my website at soulsnacks.com. If you want to follow me on any of the social media platforms, all you have to do is go to Soul Snacks, and it will pull up everything on Facebook, Soul Snacks, on Instagram, Soul Snacks, on Twitter, everything, Soul Snacks.
This has been an absolute pleasure, pleasure, Ralph. I so enjoyed this thoroughly. We'll talk offline. We'll set up some time to meet for sure. And 100%, I'm going to help you in every way. Thank
you. And anything I can do for you, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless you.